presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Sports. We are Southeast.
For the final time in 2017, we join you from beautiful Denver, Colorado, and Coors Field on a perfect afternoon for baseball. Atlanta wraps up this 4-game series and this 7-game road trip with a matinee against the hot-hitting Colorado Rockies. Hi again, friends. Joe and Chip, welcome back to the ballpark. We're not even going to talk about what happened here last night. We are, however, going to talk about what so far is a 2-4 road trip for the Braves. And for 3 hitters in particular lineup, Joe, 2 and 4 equals 5.
I like it. 5-game hitting streaks for
Exactly.
all 3 of these guys. Because if it weren't for these guys, they may not have 2 wins on the board in this road trip. Ender Inciarte hitting .381. Likewise, Freddie Freeman, .381. And a 5-game hitting streak. 500 on base percentage for Freddie. And the third guy, Dansby Swanson, has really played well. He's swung the bat well since he came back up. .273 average in recent days, and he's only struck out twice since he got called up. He's hitting the ball with more authority. He's got some confidence, and those 3 guys right now are pretty much carrying the offense.
And they're going to see a lot of fastballs today from Jeff Hoffman. The young righty for Colorado has had trouble winning at home. Hopefully, Lucas Sims will get some run support and pick up his first big league victory here in the Mile High City. When we come back, we'll talk with Lucas about what he expects to see today against the Rockies as we wrap up the road trip in Game 4 against Colorado next.
Baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Delta Airlines.
Welcome back into Coors Field. A perfect afternoon for baseball for the series finale between the Braves and the Rockies. A second rookie taking the mound for Atlanta this series. Sean Newcomb held his own in his start, and now it's Lucas Sims' turn. Now this is Lucas's fourth big league start. He's still looking for that first win, but this is a guy the Braves are very excited about. Their first-round draft pick back in 2012, and he has really worked his way up through the organization, and now he's trying to solidify his spot in this rotation.
You kind of think about just the first moment you pick up the ball and start playing, and once you finally get the call and the realization that the dream came true, it's pretty special. Now I want to go out there. I want to start winning ball games, putting up zeros, and competing is one thing you can control. One of the few things you can control in this. Now I want to go out there and win.
He says that it's time to go out there and win. His skipper, Brian Snitker, praised all of his competitiveness and how well he's handled himself. And today he'll have his hands full with a really good Rockies lineup. But we're getting you ready for first pitch of the series finale between the Braves and the Rockies. The Braves looking for a happy flight back to Atlanta. Chip and Joe take it back with first pitch and starting lineups coming up next.
Baseball is brought to you by your local Toyota dealer. Let's go places. And SunTrust.
Welcome back to Coors Field. Nice crowd filing in for the four-game finale between the Braves and the Colorado Rockies, a club we'll see next week when we finally get back to beautiful SunTrust Park. Speaking of beautiful, that's how you could describe the weather today. 80 degrees, low humidity, very light breeze. Forecast for cloudy skies as the afternoon goes along, but we don't anticipate at this point any weather-related issues as Lucas Sims and Jeff Hoffman get set to square off in the series finale. We're moments away from first pitch. We'll take a break and come back and get to live action right after this.
baseball is brought to you by your local Ford dealer and the Georgia Lottery.
Umpires have received the lineup cards. They're standing at home plate waiting for the Colorado Rockies to take the field for Game 4 of our series here in Denver. Last night, the Rockies scored in every inning but one. That was the 6th. And they bashed the Braves by a final of 17-2 in concert with the Diamondbacks' loss yesterday. That means the Rockies have a one-game lead for the top wild card spot in National League play. Bud Black has a terrific team. They are 67-53 on the year. And the Colorado club will entertain the Milwaukee Brewers, who come to town next.
And they could pretty much knock the Brewers right out of it if they play well. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to give you a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Rockies win home field advantage for the wild card. They throw, let's say, John Gray. I don't know that it'll be him. Let's say John Gray, and the Diamondbacks come in here with Zach Greinke. Who do you like?
I like Colorado. I like their offense. It's an offense that doesn't even have Ian Desmond right now. I think they play with such great confidence here that this park, and at the size of this park, I think it intimidates teams. Look at what it's done to the Braves offense last 13 times here. I would think as a hitter, you think, wow, there's so much space. Well, there is, but you got to hit the ball. And they've got pretty good pitching, too.
And they like their bullpen.
Yes, sir. So I think Colorado has an excellent chance, barring disaster, of advancing into a first-round matchup with probably the LA Dodgers.
This is Jeff Hoffman, 24 years old, 6'5", 217, out of Latham, New York. He is a rookie, and his last 5 starts have been quite ugly. He is 2-2 here at Coors Field, but with a 6 ERA. Here's the interesting part. He was the key guy coming back from Toronto for Troy Tulowitzki. And what's interesting about it is that he was a #1 pick by Toronto in 2014. He was the 9th pick in the draft, and that was the pick right after Colorado had taken Kyle Freeland in the 14 draft with the 8th pick. So they wind up with the 8th and 9th pick out of that draft. Both are college guys. Hoffman's out of the University of East Carolina. Mid-90s fastball, curveball, changeup, slider.
Rockies have an excellent defensive club. As we told you, Colorado, with only 52 errors and 25 unearned runs. Jonathan Lucroy is a late addition to the lineup. The Rockies' original starting catcher caught the flu or has a flu bug of some sort and can't go.
Yeah, Ryan Hannigan was supposed to be in there and give Jonathan day off, but not so. Hopefully he got his rest last night and ready to go. You know he is.
So here's the Atlanta lineup. Braves have scored 34 runs in this park in their last 13 games. Let's hope they can pour it on today with Ender Inciarte, Brandon Phillips, and Freddie Freeman batting 1, 2, and 3. Nick Markakis has had a good road trip and a good series. Flowers back behind the plate. Santana, Albies, and Dansby Swanson with a 5-game streak for Brian Snitker. Nolan Arenado with a throwing error 2 games ago that won the game for Atlanta. And now they take aim at Jeff Hoffman. As Joe said, the 9th overall pick just 3 short years ago. And we're underway. 1 ball, no strikes. Mike Estabrook has the plate today.
Braves need base runners. If they want to have some big innings, they need some base runners any way they can get on. It's been hard to parlay hits and walks into big innings.
And Hoffman's properly gone. 3 balls, no strikes. He walked 3 in Miami over 5 innings and lost down in South Florida. And 4 pitches, and the Braves have a base runner.
Now, how about that? Only 5 walks in the first 3 games issued to Atlanta by the Rockies staff. 5 total. That's another reason why their staff has been so much better this year, is they're throwing strikes. But a leadoff walk, ideal for the Braves to get something going.
That brings up Brandon Phillips, who's 2 for 11 with a couple of runs scored in the series. Brandon, 20 hits now from 2000 and batting .283 for the year. Sharply hit right to third. Long throw back to first, and Ender is back safely. Brandon Phillips hit it right on the screws, but right at Nolan Arenado. One out.
Braves have had enough of that too. This road trip seems like there's been a ton of line drives in St. Louis and here that have been right at people. I love it. Flip down shades. Going old school. Arenado.
Colorado has a shift on for Freeman. And he bangs one foul past first. Strike one. Freddie's 3 for 11 in the series. A 5-game hitting streak overall. And he's knocked in 48 runs.
Did you see Arenado? So excited. Ground ball to the right side that went foul, but he was hustling over to cover second for potential double play. Third baseman gets so fired up on that opportunity.
Oh, get to turn the double play? Dream come true. Runner goes. Pitch is a ball. The throw to second is not in time. Ender beats the wrap. And he's got his 16th stolen base.
Lucroy's got good numbers. He's right around 30% throwing out base stealers, but this throw was high. And that's what allowed Ender to get his foot in there ahead of the tag.
A hit means a run. And Freeman skies one toward right center. Blackman drifts back. Charlie's underneath. He's got it. Ender will tag. And he will make it to third base. And now there are 2 outs. And Nick Markakis is the Braves hitter.
Well, we talked about these guys in our opening comments about Ender and Markakis, Freeman being key guys on the road trip. So is Dansby Swanson, of course. Markakis has got a 4-game hitting streak working too.
A .306 batting average this year with runners in scoring position. This is his 109th at bat with a man at second or third base. That's most on the team. And he swings at the first one and pops it up. Arenado at third base is there, and the Braves can't cash in. A leadoff walk. Nothing doing in the top of the first. Lucas Sims faces the Rockies and Coors Field next. Bottom of the first inning, so it's Lucas Sims still looking for that first big league victory and coming off a start against the Cardinals that gave him a bit of trouble over his 98 pitches.
Yeah, but you know what? His first 3 starts in the big leagues, the Dodgers, he got beat 3-2. Miami, he got beat 4-1 and gave up all 4 runs in the first inning and still went 6 innings. And that started against St. Louis, and he got beat 6-5. He's kept his team in the ball game even when he hasn't had his best stuff at times. His 4 keys to pitching success today. Number 1, mix it up. Hit the 4 quadrants. Keep these guys off balance the best you can, especially with your slider. And if you could go 7+ today, they might vote you MVP of the road trip to help save the bullpen a little bit.
Braves relief corps had to work a lot in this series, as you expect. Let's hope Lucas can have a quick and eventful day in the final game of the set. Charlie Blackmon leads off and takes a called strike. Blackman's 2 for 10 in the series. He has scored 3 runs and is batting .333 overall on the season.
Slider curveball start. That's mixing it up.
And bounced foul at first. Blackmon behind, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Braves have done a good job on Charlie. 2 for 10, as you said. It came in a hot hitter, top of the league in hits. They've held him down.
Little roller out to second. Ozzy's got that. And Blackmon is retired on a ground ball out. That's always good to see. DJ LeMahieu bats second for Bud Black. And this is a fearsome Toyota starting lineup. LeMahieu had a huge night last night. 4 hits, 4 runs, and an RBI. His 42nd multi-hit game. He had 5 hits in his previous 30 at-bats before he got hot in Game 3 last night.
With as many at-bats as he has at this stage of the season, to raise your average 6 points in one night, pretty impressive.
So he's entering play at .314. LeMahieu as deep as you can get in that right-hand batter's box. Takes another strike. LeMahieu, a former Cub. What a pickup for the Rockies. A perfect second-place hitter and an excellent defender, too. That's high. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I don't think Lucas has thrown the same pitch back to back yet, and that's what I'm talking about, is keeping them guessing a little bit. Went slider, or went fastball to the slider there. This might be a curveball. Yep.
It was, and it was popped up. He had LeMahieu off stride, and Freddie puts that away for the second out.
These guys are such good fastball hitters, all of them, but they're even better mistake hitters. So even if you mix it up a little bit and change speeds, you're going to have to hit spots with it too.
Well, that's what we saw happen to Mike Fultonevich last night.
Yeah.
When he missed, his misses were sometimes in good locations, in and out, or up and down, but a lot of pitches got left out over the middle of the plate.
Even after he got a hit in the count.
Correct. And he did that a lot. Very strange pitching line for Mike. 2-to-1 strike to ball ratio, but he gave up 8 runs.
Yeah.
Fooled a good hitter with that pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Big sweeper.
Arenado hitting well over 400 in the first inning. Couldn't stop the swing. The pitch.
so far, so terrific by Lucas. Slider away, fooled him, and popped a fastball right in on his belt buckle. Great choice.
To left, and Santana misplayed it. Arenado around first, stumbled a bit. He's on his way to second. The throw is not in time.
Well, this was a fastball down the middle, but I'm not sure that Danny saw it, because he was kind of frozen, and then when he did see it, of course, it was too late. Watch his reactions. He actually was going to his left. And that's why I don't think he even saw it off the bat.
So another double for Arenado, his 37th of the year. And Gerardo Parra steps in. He's the Colorado cleanup man. He's knocked in 4 runs in the series. 3 of them last night. Excuse me, all 4 of them last night.
To have 3 guys with 3 or more hits and 3 or more RBIs in the same game was only the 3rd time that had happened in the last 50 years. And one of the other times was by the Rockies.
1 ball, no strikes. And taken too high, ball 2. In Lucas's last start, one issue that gave him some trouble was the Cardinals' left-handed hitters. They touched him up for 5 hits and 10 tries. That had not been much of a problem in his first 2 starts. Dangerous guy here, 3-0. Let's see if he's green lighted. It was off the plate, ball 4. So a double and a walk brings up Jonathan Lucroy.
Yeah, that bumped up the average against him by left-handed hitters a little bit. But oddly, his splits had been that the right-handers are the ones that are giving him the most trouble. Arenado today with a single, or double rather. But all 3 teams he's pitched against so far, excellent hitting ball clubs. He's held his own.
That's in for a strike. Interesting question. If Hannigan couldn't start, I wonder if he's even available to pinch hit.
They call it a stomach virus.
No balls and a strike. And should something happen to Jonathan Lucroy, the next logical question is then who's the emergency catcher if Hoffman's not or Hannigan's not available. Excuse me. I guess it'd be McMahon. He's caught some, I think. But not a comfortable place for a manager to be. You have to scratch your starter before first pitch, and you hope, I'm sure for Colorado, that virus doesn't spread through the rest of the clubhouse. They got a lot to play for right now with big games coming up.
Hey, those are 2 good pitches that Lucroy basically just spit on, didn't even offer.
Two balls, 1 strike. To short. Dansby's got it. His flip to second in time, and Sims navigates through a scoreless bottom of the 1st inning. Tyler Flowers will lead off in game 4. Connected with a fully customizable experience. Get Braves home screen icons and app features, as well as game day, live game video highlights, radio broadcasts, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. Joe Simpson, Kelsey Wingert, Chip Carey, the rest of our great Fox Sports crew from Denver. We are through a scoreless first inning at Coors Field. Flowers, Santana, and Ozzie Albies going to work against Jeff Hoffman. And a strike.
Tyler's had a great year. He and Suzuki, we've talked about their combination of numbers and how outstanding they are with respect to the rest of the league. But Tyler in his own right, 9 homers, 385 on base percentage. And still hitting in the 290s.
Way outside.
Good breaking ball there from Hoffman. Now you were just showing me something between innings. We talked about how the Rockies drafted Kyle Freeland and traded and got Hoffman, who was the 9th pick, 8th and 9th back-to-back, but the Braves have a bunch of guys out of that draft from some trades they've made.
Right. The Braves had 1 first-round pick in 2014. That was Braxton Davidson, who was taken 32nd overall as an outfielder. First the 2-2. But through all the trades that John Hart and John Coppola have made, Atlanta got the overall number 6 pick, Alex Jackson, who was with Seattle. Sean Newcomb, who was the 15th pick from the Angels, and Touki Toussaint, who was the 16th pick.
It's kind of wild, isn't it?
It is. That ball's hammered right center field, and that ball is going to sail into the Colorado bullpen. A solo home run for Tyler Flowers, and the Braves have struck first in the 2nd inning. He's in double figures in homers now. That's number 10.
Boy, is that a good poke these days. These over that double fence now. To right center. High fastball. And had the sound.
So a leadoff home run brings up Danny Santana, who's 1 for 10 in the series.
Nice to be ahead, isn't it?
Any guesses as to the home run distance on Flowers' shot?
Well, let's see. It's 375. I'll say 376.
Well, you're close, but a little shy. 410 feet.
All right. I think StatCast is back on track.
Yep. Two quick strikes from Hoffman, who delivers, and Danny rolls to first, and he'll be taken care of by McMahon. And there's the first out of the inning. Ozzie Albies, the batter. Ozzie batted 7th again last night, went 0 for 4. He led off for the first time in Game 2 of the series, also went 0 for 4. In fact, the Braves kid second baseman's looking for his first hit of this series. Can't leave Colorado without a hit.
No.
Take care of that right here. Smoke toward right center field. That ball is going to bounce off the track and off that fence. Osby around second. He's lost his helmet. He's on his way to third, and he's going to make it safely with a 1-out triple. That snaps the 0 for 13. And Osby Albies, as I like to call him.
Osby rears his ugly head again.
Yes, he does. His first triple.
Oh, fun to watch him run. Fastball outside corner, drilled it to the gap. Took kind of a funny bounce off the post out there too. And watch him go. Put the bags in stride. Stand up triple. Let's get him in.
That brings up Dansby Swanson, who's riding a nice streak of his own. Dansby has it safely in 5 straight. And a shot to Arenado on contact. Albies now on a rundown. And the swipe tag missed. He's still alive, then finally tagged out. Boy, was that slick to escape the first tag try by Arenado, and he almost got away with it. But he was headed home on contact, and the Rockies run him down for the second out.
He wanted to stay in the rundown long enough to try and get Swanson to second base, but with Story backing that up right there, he had no time to really jockey around and make him chase him. Braves are now 4 for 39 in this series with men on base.
Scoring on that play went 5-2, 5-6 to take care of Albies. Now Sims with a man at first and 2 out. That's the most incredible thing about the Braves' struggles against the Rockies. This is a great hitter's park. You'd think this is a place where your offense would come to get healthy or get healthier. It has not worked out that way for Atlanta over the last couple of years. The Flowers home run, the 35th run scored by the Braves in their last 14 games here.
Hard to figure, isn't it? Especially the way the Braves owned the Rockies for years in this park.
Good cut by Lucas, who bangs it foul. And a count to him, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
The play with Albies going was you're going on contact. So as soon as the ball was hit, he took off. He didn't want to run into an out at home plate, tried to get in the rundown. Well, why did he run? Simple. There was already 1 out, and the pitcher was due up next. So if you just sit back, let him throw to first and get Swanson, you're still at third, hoping the pitcher can get a hit. And the odds of that are very slim.
LeMahieu takes care of Lucas Sims, but the Braves score on a Tyler Flowers home run. Ozzie Albies also with a triple, his first hit of this series. And after 1.5, the Braves enjoy an early lead.
miss his gear. He incorporated yellow into his gear, one of the colors that many don't notice on the Braves uniforms, and he said that he was inspired by Brandon Phillips. Brandon Phillips has a pair of yellow cleats, and he's one of the first players to incorporate that yellow into their uniform. Tyler Flowers said he had never seen it done, but the really cool thing about Tyler Flowers is that he designs everything on his own. He draws this gear up and he sends it out to his company, and they get it made for him. So Chip and Joe, he's not only good at framing pitches, he can design some really cool gear too, and that yellow mask he's wearing is a new addition as well. This is about his second time wearing that.
Oh, he's more than just a one-dimensional guy for sure. With his creativity, his artistic side of him, well-read, wants to write a book about catching and baseball, and I'm sure that'll happen too when he has time to do it. I like it. Looks good.
So Tyler's helped Lucas Sims to an early lead. Trevor Story, the Colorado shortstop, leads off. Huge night last night for this kid. 3 hits, 2 home runs, and 6 runs batted in. Don't want to walk him.
No, right up to the point that Arenado hit that ball over Danny's head. He was loose and free and going side to side, up and down. And now he's either lost a little bit of his release point or he's aiming it a little bit. He's got to get back to what he did those first 2 hitters.
Good point, Joe. He's walked 2 of the last 3 hitters after that 2-base hit. You're going to give up contact. You're going to give up hits here. You are going to give up extra base hits here. It's the walks that kill you because those extra base hits often come after those free passes take place.
And again, it bears repeating, for the Rockies to have only walked 5 guys in the first 3 games, that's a vast improvement for their staff.
So Ryan McMahon digs in. He was a Colorado second-round pick in 2013. .62", 207. He's 22 years young. Three years ago at Asheville, he was the Tourists' starting third baseman. And he had a gigantic year. 102 RBIs in 126 games.
Goodness.
But he's not going to play third base in Colorado anytime soon. So they've moved him to first. And now 1-1 count to him. Line foul, 1 ball, 2 strikes. More balls than strikes for Sims. Now the 2-2 pitch is lifted toward left field and deep. Ender and Santana on the run. Nobody's going to get that. It bounces off the wall. Here comes Story around third. A stumble. There'll be no throw. And that's what I was talking about. The walk and the extra base hit ties the game at 1 apiece. McMahon with his first RBI.
Well, it's a good point, Chip, because this is Coors Field. Fly balls become extra base hits. They're not outs. And that one almost a 2-run homer. First RBI for McMahon.
And he's in scoring position now for Alexi Amarista, who's getting the start in the Rockies outfield for Carlos Gonzalez today. Low and outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Amarista, a valuable player, very versatile. He started at short, second, third, left, center, and right field. And that one's bounced foul. Amarista second on the Rockies club with 37 pinch hit appearances. So for Bud Black, chance to get him 4 at bats and hopefully keep him sharp when Milwaukee starts play here tomorrow. Broken bat, Squibber down the third base line, and no play for Brandon Phillips. A big piece of the barrel went down the first base line. The baseball went down the third base line, and the wood chunk went farther than the baseball, and everybody's safe.
This is your ridiculously good cue shot. Bat splinters off the end, and it stayed fair for a guy who can run.
So 1 in, runners at the corners. There's nobody out.
Third base coach Stu Cole came in to talk to Hoffman, maybe to explain to him, yeah, it's a bunt situation, but it's not a squeeze. We're just trying to get that guy at first over to second, get out of a double play, avoid a double play. So don't worry about it being a squeeze.
There's the bunt, and it is a successful one. Runner to second with 1 out. And now Charlie Blackmon's coming up, one of the best leadoff men in the game, but he's also a big-time RBI guy. Tells you how good the bottom of the Rockies batting order has been when your leadoff man has 74 runs batted in.
Yeah, outstanding. .394 on base percentage.
Little pop foul ground. Brandon Phillips gives chase but won't have a play. It's a strike.
You mentioned Ian Desmond, and he's on the DL with a calf injury, and he's only played 65 games for the Rockies. 5 homers, 32 RBIs in 65 games. 10 stolen bases, hitting .285. So another weapon they've got in the wings.
Way high, even count. Charlie Blackmon leads the majors with 109 runs, 14 triples, and 51 multi-hit games.
13 of his 14 triples have been hit here.
Blackmon got jammed, fought it off, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, tying him up a little bit. It's a pretty good season. Also first in home batting average. Second to Turner, right? Justin Turner in batting average.
The Dodgers third baseman. LA came back and won last night again. Pitch got away, but no advance. The Dodgers have an 18.5 game lead over an excellent Colorado club. All the Dodgers have done is win 50 of their last 59 games.
Can be a little demoralizing, huh?
Yeah.
If you're in their division.
And 67-53 would put the Rockies 4.5 games behind Washington, and they'd have a big lead in the National League Central.
And they are thrilled with the wild card and the second wild card.
The 2-2 pitch. Whoa, that looked like a strike.
Yikes.
Tyler Flowers held it there. Sims thought he had him struck out. Instead, it's a full count.
That's one of those that's too close to take, and yet he took it and was right in terms of the results for Mr. Blackmon.
Bright sunshine overhead as Blackmon awaits a full count pitch, and that's rolled to first. That's a fair ball, and a run's going to score. That was hugging the line the whole way. Blackmon puts it in play and brings home McMahon. His 75th RBI gives the Rockies a 1-run lead. Amarista moved to third on that ground ball out. Now LeMahieu hits.
Need an out. Leave that guy at third. Another good sweeping slider. He's throwing it right at the middle of the plate. He got that funny swing from Arenado in the first inning. And a swing and a miss, which is hard to do with LeMahieu.
One strike. Now 2 strikes.
LeMahieu only 61 strikeouts on the year. 447 at bats. 41 walks. He has a .374 on base percentage. Wind must be blowing out at Wrigley today. I think the Reds were up 8-0 at one point.
At 9-0. John Lester came out of that game in the second inning. He called the trainer out and to depart. But the Cubs trying to come back against a Cincinnati pitching staff that has been ravaged by injury this year. The staff we'll see at home tomorrow night.
It's now 9-6. Another good stop.
Now the 1-2 pitch is lined to first, and Freddie's got it, and that'll retire the side. The Rockies cash in a leadoff walk and a McMahon double. They take a 2-1 lead into the third inning, where the top of the Braves order is coming up. Prepare the Major League Baseballs for play, take some of the gloss and shine off them, give the pitchers a little more grip. And the baseballs here in Denver then go sit in the humidor for a couple of months to absorb a little more moisture and hopefully give the pitchers a fighting chance here at altitude. The old mud application sure has changed. Never used to see them use gloves before.
Umpires always did it in the old days too.
Yeah. So 2-1 Colorado, top of the order. Under Inciarte led off with a walk, stole second, and was left at third base in the opening inning. And that's popped out of play, foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. It was thought of Jeff Hoffman that he might have been the overall #1 pick in that 2014 draft, but he had Tommy John surgery after his junior year at East Carolina. That harmed his stock a little bit. As that ball is launched deep right field, no doubt about this one. How far is it going? Into the second deck. Ender unloads with his 9th homer. And 2 solo shots for the Braves. And we're tied again, 2 apiece.
First homer since July 19th against the Cubs at home. That went a long way, no matter what ballpark you're playing in. Got on top of a high fastball.
And he knew it, too. Dropped his head, dropped the bat, made the sprint around the bases. So good fielding crowd here in Denver. 2-2 your score. They measure that one 434 feet. Brandon Phillips lined out to Arenado his first time up. And he's going to ground to Arenado his second time up. 1 away.
Something interesting also about Hoffman and how it wasn't really intentional, but they really got his attention in spring training. It was pretty much a well-known fact that they were going to take one of these good rookies with them out of camp. It's pretty much, tryout for those guys. Who wants it?
4 guys for one spot.
Yeah. And then they had some injuries. They suffered some injuries to the rotation, and all of a sudden there were more opportunities. The only guy that got left behind was Hoffman. He got left back. He did not make the team, while some other guys did. And the theory is that by going to Albuquerque and getting his attention a little bit, it really motivated him.
Freeman down the line to left. That's a fair ball and headed for the corner. And he'll stand at second with a 1-out double. That's the 4th Braves hit. All of them are for extra bases. 2 homers, a triple, and now Freddie's 1-out 2-base hit.
Well, as we've said, Chip, there's just too much room to cover. You hit a ball into the outfield somewhere with a little something on it, a little speed on it, there's a real good chance it's going to be a double or more.
Nick popped out to third in the Braves' first inning. And takes up and away. Ball 1. Gentle breeze blowing out toward the left field stands. Clouds starting to roll in from the west. A very comfortable afternoon at Coors. The pitch. Here's a good hook. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Speaking of long home runs, 434 feet for Ender. How about the home run that Aaron Judge hit last night in Citi Field?
I don't think we've seen one hit up there before, have we?
Upper deck.
It's section 538 or 536.
Was that distance or
that's what
section?
That's what a lot of folks wondered. Fly ball toward Blackman, left center. He's still streaking. He got there. Freddie's going to tag, and he's going to stand at third ahead of the relay throw. And Markakis is retired, and Tyler Flowers is coming up. Aaron Judge hit his 37th home run, but he also set a record. He struck out in his 33rd straight game yesterday for the Yankees, a record that was once held by Adam Dunn. Mets and Yankees will wrap up the Subway Series a little later on. Luis Severino and Steven Matz will square off at Citi Field. Swing and a miss. It's been so long since we've seen the Mets. I think Ray Knight's still playing for him. I'm not sure.
Yes. Rusty Staub got a base hit a couple of days ago.
No balls and a strike. 2-2 game. Let's see if the Braves can bring Freddie home and break the tie. Sharply hit. Arenado right at his ankles, made the play. That ball was a missile.
Almost knocked his legs out from under him.
What a play by Arenado, a 4-time Gold Glover. Good start to the 3rd inning. Ender Inciarte got a high fastball and launched it into the 2nd deck. In the 3rd inning, we're still tied up 2 apiece.
When I have a lot of time for myself, I like to go to the beach, and especially with my family and friends, and anywhere by the water and happy. And during the season, I really like to go to the movies and just lay low.
Wasn't anything low about that homer.
No, see, he also likes to go yard.
Yeah, he does.
That's his 9th home run, and it ties the game in the 3rd inning for Nolan Arenado. How many times do you see a guy that almost has his ankles ripped off by a ground ball, lead off the next inning?
Never.
I mean, that ball was creamed.
Yeah.
And he just casually picked it and fired across the diamond. What a player.
Told him yesterday by the cage that I really like watching him play, and he seemed genuinely flattered. He was like, really? I said, yeah. And he said, well, thank you very much. And he was very, very nice.
That's kind of the shame the way the schedule is put together now. You only get to see guys like Arenado and guys in the other divisions once at home and once on the road.
Well, he'll be in town. Not this coming weekend, but the following. And we've told you before, we urge you to buy tickets and come. If for no other reason than to see this guy play, he's worth it.
Three balls and a strike. And a leadoff walk. That's 3 walks for Lucas Sims. He had 3 walks all year coming into action today.
And you understand, I mean, he's a young guy, 4th big league start. The guy's leading the world in RBIs. Trying not to make a mistake. He just ripped one off the wall in left field his first time up. So you're a little bit careful. I get it. But the other side of that is your teammates just tied the game up for you. Just got you back even. You need to go out there, be a little more aggressive, even at the risk of getting a ball hit hard somewhere.
And the way this Rockies lineup is put together, there's really no player you can afford to pitch around, especially in this park, because there's danger everywhere. Parra's hit almost 350. Lucroy's a veteran hitter. Story has had a gigantic series. There's no weak spots. If they hit you, they hit you. But it's the walks again that are such a big problem. Out of play foul. It's 0-2.
I don't know. As good. Their lineup in this ballpark is outstanding. Truly outstanding. The Dodgers in their ballpark with their lineup, I think is better, because I think it plays, that lineup plays everywhere, and it may be a little deeper when you got Puig hitting 8th and has hit 20 homers or something.
Oh-2 pitch grounded towards second. Gotta hurry. There's one. The throw to first is not in time. Braves force Arenado. And Parra's aboard with 1 out, and it is striking, Joe. You look at the home road splits for Bud Black's club. Batting average, look at that, a 52-point difference, and almost 2 runs a game less for their offense away from Coors Field. So yes, there is a Coors Field effect for sure.
Yeah, and their ERA is a little better. Bud Black must have something that concerns him at second base.
I think the Rockies are going to challenge and see if Dansby Swanson had his foot on the bag when he made this catch.
He did not. But to follow that thought, while the Dodgers lineup may be a little deeper, this Rockies team with their defense, you know, that is such a equalizer on a lot of different fronts. And yes, their pitching is young, and how far can their young pitchers take them once they get to the postseason? That will be the question for them. And I like their team. I like Colorado's, but Just look at what the Dodgers have done.
And they're doing it without Kershaw now, who's still not back. And I think pretty clearly Dansby's foot was off the bag. And the Rockies are going to have 2 on and nobody out.
I don't know what happened there. That was kind of a slow developing play. It was almost like the timing was off. The timing was off on the toss from Ozzie to Dansby, and that's why he was already coming across the bag and off the base.
So that call's overturned. Arenado will be ruled safe at second. Yeah, a little step.
Well, yeah, and that backhand toss doesn't have as much on it, so it takes a little while to get there.
So a successful challenge for Colorado. They're going to charge Dansby with an error on that play and give Albies an assist. So Lucroy bats. He's down a strike. The Colorado catcher bounced into a forced play in the opening inning. You know, Lucroy's looking forward to the weekend set. His former club, the Brewers, is coming to Coors Field. That's driven toward right down the line. Long run, and nobody can get there. Look how far Freddie Freeman ranged from his position at first base. Ozzie Albies, too, to try to help out Nick Markakis. That's got to play tricks on you, both as an infielder and an outfielder. I think you can't believe there's any possibility that there's that much room to try to track down a foul.
What do you think? There's like 50 acres of field here.
Sure looks like it.
I know. It just gets bigger and bigger.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Little roller hit toward Brandon. He's going to have 1 play, and he makes it to first base. Productive out for Lucroy. Runners at second and third. You know, you brought up last night the interesting defensive strategy used by Joe Madden against Joey Votto the other day at Wrigley Field, where he used the 4 outfielders and 3 infielders. I wonder if that might not be a way to try to keep these guys contained in this ballpark. Why not put a 4th outfielder out there? If you're going to shift on a player, for example, why not go ahead and make it 4 outfielders and see if you get lucky and they hit the ball to a gap and somebody's standing there?
Wouldn't be a bad idea if the game was on the line, something like that.
I don't think that's something that's been tried while the Braves are here. And they've tried to make it fairer with the humidor, with the fence going across the bullpens.
Well, you've seen teams bring in an extra infielder with the game on the line and have 5 infielders in it. Has some merit to go with 4 outfielders instead.
Right. At least you won't have to have guys covering as much ground. You might cut something off if it is hit into a gap. No balls and a strike. And a big cut by Trevor Story. Didn't get it. 0-2. A leadoff walk, a ground ball, a mistimed play at second base that turned into an error. Now a ground out has Rockies at second and third, 1 out, and 2 strikes for Story, who will strike out if you let him do that.
He was a first-round pick, albeit a compensation pick, 45th pick in the 2011 draft.
Hammered down the left field line, but he pulled it foul. And the reason I keep talking about maybe playing 4 outfielders, that's what these guys try to do. They are all in launch mode in their home park.
Laying on that back foot and in launch angle. Just hooked it foul. Out of Irving, Texas.
Probably a big Washington Redskins fan. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's the swing and a miss. So Story can't make contact with Arenado at third base. That's a big second out. And that is Lucas Sims' first strikeout today.
Good time for his first strikeout.
McMahon doubled and scored back in the 2-run Colorado second.
Great to get out of this and have a little momentum, a little confidence built after first and second, nobody out.
Pop fly, slicing, and in foul ground. A ball and a strike. Cubs have come back and tied Cincinnati 9-9. And that one's in the fifth inning. Cubs had back-to-back-to-back homers in that game against Cincinnati. And it's all there for the taking for Chicago, as we've said earlier in the series. Cubs in the midst of 24 straight games against sub-500 teams. They have a game-and-a-half lead in the Central Division race. Broken bat roller. Lucas Sims just grew up, folks. He had second and third, I should say, and nobody out. And the Rockies can't get the ball out of the infield. That was impressive. 2-2 your score. Baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. After we finish things with Colorado, we head home for a weekend series with the Cincinnati Reds R.A. Dickey kicks off the series at home tomorrow night. First pitch at 7:35 Eastern.
Joey Votto's been on a big tear his last 3 weeks. High average, huge on-base percentage. Braves won 2 out of 3 at Great American Ballpark earlier this year. First game, Braves will face Sal Romano. Sal's got a great Italian restaurant down in St. Simons.
Have to check that out. As Danny Santana leads off the Braves' fourth in a 2-2 game. What a job by Lucas Sims to escape third inning damage. 2 Rockies in scoring position, 2 groundouts and a strikeout later. The Braves bats are back to work. Do it again. 0-2.
This guy has a gross difference in his left-right splits.
Anthony's strike 3.
99-point difference, and it's the lefties that he wears out. 213 average against him, 99 points worse than right-handers, and just gave up his 5th home run to a left-hander this year.
So Ozzie won't leave Denver without a hit. He had a triple his first time up.
First major league triple. Stand up.
And it's a safe bet he's going to have a lot more. You're right, he can really run. And that's taken low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ozzie's former club in Gwinnett had a good day yesterday. They won 2 games against Scranton Wilkes-Barre, as he didn't get that one. 2-2. Ronald Acuna 5 for 10, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 2 runs scored and a double. He's hitting .341 for Gwinnett as a 19-year-old.
What a player.
That's hit to second. LeMahieu from the cut of the outfield grass takes care of Ozzie, and 2 out. That brings up Dansby Swanson. He's our Zaxby's indescribably good player.
Last 5 games, he's hit safely in all 5. 3 extra base hits. He's had a good series here. 4 for 11.
One ball, no strikes.
Hoffman really telegraphed that pitch, really slowed everything down. Curveball. Fairly easy to detect if you're the hitter.
Braves would love Swanson to reach here. At the very least, they'd get Lucas Sims out of the way on the lineup card. And The Brave shortstop way ahead in the count, 3-0. Dansby flipped the bat away.
I almost thought Mike Estabrook threw his right hand in the air.
That's exactly what he did. I was shocked that he didn't call Dansby back.
I guess he was pointing to first base, but it was very odd.
I guess his right arm came up to adjust his chest protector. That certainly did look like he was calling strike. The pitch wasn't. So the Braves get a gift, a walk to clear Lucas Sims here. And that's inside corner, called strike.
Lucas has got a good swing. Hit the ball sharply his first time up. Ground ball to second. Looking for his first big league hit. That was his first contact. He'd gone 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts before today.
So he's making progress.
He is.
0-2. And he drives that one toward the gap in right center. But Charlie Blackmon got an excellent jump. And he hauls that in to retire the side. Amaristo, Hoffman, Charlie Blackmon are coming up. Early days of Ozzie Albies' big league career, and after that flip to second base, Ron Washington greets him immediately and talks about that play at second base.
And again, I'm blaming that toss, that backhand toss, on upsetting the timing of Dansby Swanson coming across the bag that caused Dansby to come off the base. But no harm done. Lucas Sims able to pitch around it. Great job.
And he's got the 8-9-1 hitters coming up now in a 2-2 game. 4th inning in Denver. And right there for a called strike. Popped him up. And Tyler Flowers right behind the plate makes the play. Amarista's retired. 1 away.
I love hearing what's going on, like on that pop-up, and all the guys in the Braves dugout are all yelling up, up, up. No trouble for Tyler. Listen.
A strike to Hoffman, who laid down a sacrifice in the Colorado second inning. This one, ball's hit hard to right, but Nick Markakis is there. He makes the play. 2 quick outs. Lucas could use an easy inning. Doesn't have a 1-2-3 frame yet. He's had to pitch with runners on base a lot. Now Blackmon bats. He's 0 for 2, but has knocked in a run.
It's hard for a team to have a 1-2-3 inning against the Rockies. Their lineup's so deep, but it just seems like the Braves starters really have to work hard to even get 1 or 2 a game.
Braves have 8 perfect innings so far in this series. Sims trying for number 9 here with Blackmon up there, down a strike.
You know, one of those was the 8th inning last night when Brothers struck out the side, down 17-2.
There's a bullet hit to the right field corner. Long run, Markakis. Ball pops right to Nick, and that's going to keep Blackmon anchored at second base. Otherwise, he'd have had his 15th triple. Instead, it's double number 26, and here comes Colorado again with 2 outs.
There's always been so much prejudice against Colorado Rockies hitters dating back to the creation of this ballpark or the organization, and the numbers that guys rack up when it comes to MVP type considerations. But Charlie Blackmon has got to be right there in the mix with anybody in the league.
Hughes hit the ball to the Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman twice. He's 0 for 2 after a huge game last night.
I said to Charlie yesterday, I said, well, okay, I'll see you in Atlanta at SunTrust Park, and his eyes glistened. He goes, yeah, I've been hearing some things about the new ballpark. Can't wait to get there.
You know, every hitter kind of has that same reaction, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. And that's coming from a guy who plays at Coors Field.
So Dickey, Teheran, and Newcomb in order for the Braves. Romano, Wojciechowski, and Luis Castillo. He's got a big arm and came over from Miami in the Dan Straley deal. He will pitch on Sunday afternoon.
Back in 2011, you may or may not remember this, but Charlie Blackmon had been called up from Colorado Springs. They were playing at Turner Field. I want to say he was rounding second base and broke his foot when he hit the bag at second. Missed the rest of the season. That was July 8th. Good pitch. If you're trying to pitch him away, try to get that outside third, you got to keep him honest. Good pitch. Boy.
How about that sequence?
Oh, man, that's a good pitch.
Textbook, up and in, then down and away.
Well, and on a 3-1 count, too. He just painted that one, got a little help from Tyler. LeMahieu does not have the luxury of waiting now. Anything close.
To first again. Freeman picks it up again And Sims gets Colorado out in the 4th inning. Blackman's 2-out double, harmless. Braves are coming up with the top of their order next. Howdy. Runs are even, hits are even. And Ender Inciarte, who's reached base twice, will lead things off for the Braves. Last time up, a second deck home run. It traveled 434 feet away from the plate.
It looked like between innings, Mike Estabrook was motioning to the press box that he wanted the lights turned on, and they have indeed come on. Now at SunTrust Park, of course, you wouldn't have to wait for everything to warm up. It's instant. Just flip the switch.
LED lights.
Yeah. Boy, they're nice.
2 balls, no strikes. And that all the way to the backstop. Colorado hoping something will give for Hoffman today. He is 0-3 in his last 5 games. He's 3-0 under bright sunshine. And he's got a 2-2 score so far this afternoon.
Oh, this team is good in the daytime. They're 29-15 in day games and 14-7 here at home in day games.
That's smoke to center. Blackman on the run to the warning track, to the wall. It's out of here. A home run again for Ender Inciarte. Two home runs for the Braves center fielder, and Atlanta leads 3-2.
Another fastball. Oh yeah, belt high. Now Arenado hit a ball here the other day right over the 415 mark, and it was measured at 410. We'll see if StatCast is a little better at that today. 10 homers now for Ender. Stay hot.
He's getting tired. That one 429 feet.
Wow.
And a long meeting on the mound here with Mr. Hoffman. So the Braves taking a page out of the Rockies playbook from a couple of games ago. You might remember in the Sean Newcomb game, Colorado hit 3 solo homers. That's what the Braves have today. Flowers with a 2nd inning shot. Ender a 3rd inning and 5th inning home run.
What a day. A walk, 2 homers, and a stolen base for Ender.
That's a strike for Brandon Phillips. Brandon's playing his 14th game for the Braves at third base. It has not affected his offense, and if anything, his defense has been better. He has not made an error as a third baseman in a Braves uniform. Remember, this is a man that had not played third base since 1991 when he was in Double-A.
Nobody's been talking about third base much lately, have they?
Funny how that works, right?
Yeah, it's been a solid spot.
That's hit towards Story. He charged, got the good hop. And I've said it before, he reminds me so much of Troy Tulowitzki, the way that he releases the baseball. That running throw to first base.
Kind of throws it across his body.
Did a lot. Yeah. So 1 in, 1 out. Freddie Freeman 1 for 2. He's our Georgia Lottery feature.
Last 14 games for Freddie. 8 runs driven in. Outstanding OPS, which is batting average, on base percentage, and slugging added together.
He drills one deep center. Blackman's going to admire that one. How far is that going to go? Into the rock pile. Fourth solo home run hit by the Braves. The 22nd for Freeman.
And that's going to end the day for Hoffman. Bud Black almost beat Freddie Freeman to home plate. Hanging breaking ball out away from him where Freddie can get his arms extended. He loves that. Cleared the double fence out there. And now it's just a matter of whose home run went the farthest.
We'll have to wait and tell you what StatCast says. 2-homer inning for Atlanta that chases Hoffman, and the Braves lead by 2. And Flowers have also gone deep. Braves now lead at 4-2. They've chased Jeff Hoffman. Now they will take aim at another former Rocky starter turned Pensman. That's Chris Russin.
Russin's worked in this series. Worked an inning, gave up a hit, recorded a strikeout back in game 2 of the series. He's got a good fastball. 90 to 92. A lot of cutters and a changeup off of that. But the long ball barrage, did we get a tail of the tape?
We did. 439 feet.
Freddie wins. At least for the moment.
Right. Braves now have 5 games in which they've hit 4 or more homers. They had 1 such game last season. So why stop at 4? Let's see if Nick Markakis can add to a 4-2 lead. Nick hit a 6th inning homer here. It'd be 4-3 victory in game 2 of the series. And he takes inside. 1-1 your count. Russell, a former Cub, got to the big leagues for the first time in 2012. That was in the middle of their big rebuild. Pride of the University of Kentucky. And was the Wildcats' first team all SEC pitcher since Scott Downs earned that honor back in 1997. Scott Downs also pitched for the Cubs. Colorado got him on a waiver claim after late in the season in 2014. And he just struck out Nick Markakis for the second out of the Braves' fifth inning.
Don't often get Nick chase breaking balls like that.
So here's Tyler Flowers. He played at the first Braves run with a leadoff homer in the second. And upstairs, ball one. Reds lead the Cubs now 11-9 in the seventh. Boy, that's a wild one at Wrigley. Cincinnati led 9-0. Chicago tied at 9-9. Now Cincinnati back in front. We'll see the Reds tomorrow night, Saturday and Sunday as well. Arizona's beating Houston 4-0. That game's in the ninth. Colorado leads the Diamondbacks by a game for the top National League wild card.
Is that one of those series? Weren't they just playing in Arizona?
It's one of those 2-2
things. Okay.
Yeah, the Cardinals just finished a 2-game series with Boston. They're getting ready to play the Pirates with Adam Wainwright going tonight. We've got 4 games with Pittsburgh and an interesting finale to that series. First the pitch. Ball 4 outside. The Cardinals and Pirates are going to play Sunday in Williamsport at the Little League complex. They're calling it the, if I get this right, the Little League Classic on Sunday night. I don't know how they're going to configure the field, how that's going to work out. I assume that they've made provisions like they did at Fort Bragg when the Braves played, but
40-foot bases.
Well, maybe. Pop fly out of play. And into the upper deck.
Cleveland and Minnesota have a doubleheader today. They got rained out last night. Split doubleheader. Cleveland's winning the first game in the ninth, 8-3.
Broken bat, Arenado. Long throw, and he whips it across in time, and that retires the side. 2 solo homers for Atlanta. Ender Inciarte with a 429-foot shot, his second of the day. Freddie Freeman with a 439-foot homer, and Atlanta leads 4-2 heading to the home fifth. Trying to help the Rockies do to give the pitchers a fighting chance. There's a look inside the humidor where they store the Major League official baseballs. A little extra moisture.
I wonder if they've got any cigars in there.
Probably somewhere. Well, the humidor has not slowed down the Braves today. They've hit 4 homers. And Nolan Arenado is going to lead things off. He looks energized today. You mentioned that. He was feeling frisky on the infield when Braves had Ender Inciarte aboard in the first inning. He was thinking about double play chance. That didn't happen. He has, though, doubled. He has walked. And he obviously has a hankering for Rocky Mountain oysters. Who knew?
Well, a little snack.
Fouled back. It's 0-2. This guy, the MVP of the league. Now, you mentioned Charlie Blackmon, and certainly his numbers weren't consideration.
Well, I think the same thing applies to Nolan. That too often the numbers get
hit it too high. Santana in left. 1 out.
They get looked at with a little bit of a raised eyebrow all the time, fairly or unfairly, and all he's done is be that 100 RBI guy for 3 straight years and win Gold Glove. So he could certainly get my vote if I had one. Charlie Blackmon could too. It's one of those situations where they may split the vote.
For me, the defense is the part that tips the scale for Arenado, playing a premium defensive position and only 5 errors. And in the lineup every day. That's remarkable work. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but well, there's now 100+ RBIs and still 7 weeks to play.
There are other candidates, certainly. Justin Turner's one of them in LA, what he's doing.
That's line to short. Easy play for Dansby. Parra's retired, and look at what Lucas Sims is doing. He bowed his back in the 3rd inning when Colorado had him 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. Since then, they only have 1 hit. And the Braves offense has given him a lead now. Paul Goldschmidt's got to get a lot of consideration. He's a Triple Crown candidate. Bryce Harper hadn't gotten hurt. He would be on that list as the fans start to head for the concourses as a light rain has begun to fall. There's one big cloud right overhead behind home plate. 1 more out and it's an official game. And that's in for a strike. 1-1 to Jonathan Lucroy. He has not been afraid to pitch inside to Lucroy, has he?
No, he's tried to establish that in there on a lot of guys, either with the 2nd pitch or the 1st pitch, but it's been part of why he's successful today.
Sharply hit. Albies can't get that one. Just out of reach. And Lucroy singles with 2 out.
Fought it off again.
So another home run threat is Trevor Story, who's walked, scored, and struck out. Give a Story strikeout that was the biggest sequence in the 3rd inning. He couldn't make contact with Arenado at 3rd base and 1 out. And at the time, it was a 2-2 game.
They have another infield prospect that's just going gangbusters. Brendan Rodgers, who was the 3rd pick in the draft in 2015. And he was hitting .400 in A-ball this year, and they moved him up to AA. Brendan Rodgers out of Lake Mary High School in Florida.
That's just north of Orlando.
So they've got yet another infield guy that they like a lot that's moving up the chain quickly.
Poor kid, he's going to have to hit .390 to get to the big leagues, though. His Colorado club, 1 ball, 1 strike. Sims was very sharp for the first 2 hitters, gave up the double to Arenado, then walked 2 of the next 3 Colorado hitters, gave up 2 runs in the second. Since then, hitting corners, hitting the glove, getting lots of strikes called. And as you said, one of your keys, he has mixed his pitches really well.
Really well.
Very unpredictable.
Started a lot of guys with off-speed pitches.
Story laid off, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Story went down to a knee as Sims strikes him out for the 2nd time. The kid is pitching a beauty in his first game at Coors Field in Denver. He's qualified for the win. Atlanta has supported him with 4 homers, and they look to add to a 4-2 lead next. Then Colorado will drop into a tie atop the wild card pile. Ozzie Albies turns around and hits right-handed now as we head to the 6th.
You were talking about the Cubs schedule upcoming, or maybe they're in the midst of it, with so many sub-500 teams. This is a good stretch for them in games they're not playing and participating in, because they were playing these sub-500 teams. Meanwhile, you just told us St. Louis is going to be at Pittsburgh.
Right.
Those are two teams trying to chase down the Cubs. Somebody's got to lose. And they've got the Brewers coming in here.
Story to his left. Perfect throw.
So that's a favorable situation for the Cubs if they're thinking the Rockies can continue to play good baseball and perhaps put some distance between Milwaukee and the Cubs. All contingent on Chicago winning, of course.
And they're trailing 11-9 in the 7th at Wrigley today. Here's Dansby. He has reached twice, once on a fielder's choice and once via base on balls. Lane Adams has grabbed a bat. He's on deck. And Atlanta's bullpen is busy. Sam Freeman begins to warm up. Colorado will have the 7, 8, and 9 hitters coming up in their half of this 6th inning.
.94 pitches thus far for Lucas.
I would guess that and the stress of those pitches.
Yes.
Has much to do with the possible 5-inning outing today, but he does lead as Dansby takes a little low.
Every pitch seems to be a stressful pitch here, whether you got guys on base or not, because you know how quickly one can fly out of here.
Three balls and a strike. And a good at bat for Swanson. So will be Adams with 1 on, 1 out. Russon's second walk. So Lucroy a long look in at the Rockies dugout. Bud Black is pondering his lineup card matchups. And it looks like they'll stick with Russin here, with Inciarte to follow. Dansby almost got picked off.
I don't know if he was bluffing or actually going to take off. He had a big hop over there. Rockies just now getting their bullpen busy.
They'd like to get Russin through this inning. Again, he's due up third. They will have to use 2 players for 1 move.
Ottavino. Like those numbers. That's why he's been so good in the pinch hit role. Always seems to come up with guys on base. Had a good start here in game 2.
One ball, no strikes.
like to see how far Lane could hit one here.
Well, he launched one at SunTrust Park into the Henry Aaron Terrace. One of the longer home runs we've seen hit by a right-hand hitter in our home park.
Was it his home run that broke a seat out there? Remember we saw wood flying? Might have been Kurt Suzuki.
One ball, two strikes. And foul at the plate.
Doing a good job of keeping the ball away from him here in this at bat. Pretty apparent that he's trying to get out in front of one and pull it. Trying to backdoor that breaking pitch. Good move.
Good at bat. Adams now has evened up the count. Just joining us, Atlanta jumped in front 1-0 in the second on a Tyler Flowers homer. Colorado answered with 2 runs in the second against Lucas Sims. And a swing and a miss. Adams chased one down and away and is the second out. Ender Inciarte's hit 2 homers. Freddie Freeman's hit 1. Part of a 2 extra base hit day for the Braves first baseman. And Lucas Sims out after 5 innings of 5-hit 2-run ball, in line for his first big league win today.
Good sequence there from Russin in that kept the ball away from Lane and eventually took a little off, ran a little sinker down away from him where he couldn't reach it.
And all of a sudden, bright sunshine bathing the playing surface here in Denver. Fans starting to make their way back from the concourses where they fled about 20 minutes ago after a brief rain shower passed by. What a day for Ender Inciarte. He's walked and stolen a base, and he's hit 2 homers. 150 hits on the year, and now he's in double figures in homers with 10. Dansby's running, low throw, a bullet to second. Wow, did McMahon turn that loose at first base?
It's one of those where you guessed wrong, trying to go on the first move to first, but Russin won that one.
So that ends the Atlanta's 6th. It's 4-2. And after 5 terrific innings of 57 strike work, Lucas Sims will be followed by Sam Freeman, who's got the bottom part of the order coming up.
We've been bragging on Sam a lot. He's been pitching great. Kind of in this role, kind of a middle relief guy. Braves are going to have to cover 4 innings if they want to win this game and keep the lead. 94 pitches for Sims, but 46 of them came in the first 2 innings.
And the 3rd inning was a huge sequence for him. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out, and he got out of it. Little squibber left side. Phillips can't get it. Dansby did. The throw in time to take care of McMahon. What a play.
What a play. You see it so many times where the third baseman's trying to get what he can get to and may tip the ball out away from the shortstop or just flat out get in his way. Well, it didn't happen either way there for Dansby, as he's able to backhand it and make a nice throw over.
Amarista the batter. Pat Valleca's on deck. He's going to pinch hit for Russin next. And first one missed, ball 1. Amarista at infield hit. He's also popped out to the catcher. Looks like Mike Dunn will be the next Rockies pitcher. That's off the screen and out of play. 1-1 your count. Sam Freeman has a very good fastball.
It's not a whole lot unlike that of Sean Newcomb's, in that it comes out of his hand explosively. You know, it's not a big delivery out of the stretch. Flies out of his hand.
Flowers held it there, didn't get the call. It's an even count.
A little wide and missed his target. That probably didn't help influence it at all.
Make him put it in play. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll do it again. Nice crowd today, 30,020. The Braves and Rockies over this 4-game series drew a little more than 123,000 fans. This is a terrific regional franchise. They'll have big crowds all weekend, with Milwaukee due in next.
Speaking of region, learned today that Casper, Wyoming is supposed to be the best place to watch the eclipse on Monday.
Oh, okay.
And they're expecting the most gigantic traffic jam in western United States history, of people trying to get somewhere near Casper, Wyoming to watch the eclipse.
That's hit toward the gap in left center, but it's curling toward Lane Adams in left, and he makes the catch for the second out.
I have visions of the movie Independence Day when the guys are driving across the desert and all their campers.
Yeah.
I can just see that driving up to Casper on the interstate. And this is the honest truth. They brought in like tons of highway patrolmen because they expect people to pull off on the side of the interstate to watch, and they don't want that kind of an issue.
Oh yeah, people walking into traffic and
Yeah,
such.
climbing up on top of their campers with their radars on their head.
Well, I feel if they really want to know how to handle traffic, just come on down to our part of the country. We'll have that problem fixed in about 5 minutes for you. But that'll be fun. The eclipse on Monday, right? We're supposed to get a good view of it in Atlanta too. Fly ball center, well hit. Ender on the run, still going, and he's got it at the 4:15 sign. And Freeman works a 1-2-3 home half of the 6th. NCRT will lead off. It's 4-2 Atlanta. Braves have played long ball in Colorado. 4 solo home runs. The 5th time this year Atlanta's had a 4-homer game as a team. We are through 6 innings. That's part of the story. The other part of the story was Lucas Sims in his attempt to pick up his first major league win. He pitched 5 innings of 2-run ball today. As you see our game summary, straight A's in game 4.
Yeah, like all those caps. And for Lucas, kept it in the ballpark too, which is huge. Playing this team, and that sequence in the 3rd inning, getting out of that 2 base runner jam, outstanding when he retired Lucroy, Story, and McMahon in order.
So for Sims, I guess you'd give him an A+ on one of his 4 keys today, and that was mixing up his pitches. As impressive a sequencing of these Rockies hitters as we've seen in the series,
especially early in the count, throwing his breaking stuff for strikes, for strike 1. And pitching a little backwards, and it really threw him off.
The other 4 key was get 7 innings. He didn't do that, but 5 very effective ones. And now Ender Inciarte, who was in the batter's box when Dansby Swanson was picked off in the 6th, gets a new set of strikes, and he greets former Brave Mike Dunn.
Dunn pitched in game 1 of the series and had a 3-up and 3-down inning, including a strikeout of Inciarte.
And pulled foul past first.
Well, it's just 12-10 now at Wrigley.
One ball, one strike. John Lester had to leave that game. I've not heard what his issue was. He came out in the 2nd. Cincinnati had a 8-0, 9-0 lead. Cubs cannot afford to lose John Lester if they're to repeat as world champs. Pitch is taken low. 3 balls and a strike. We'll make our lone visit to Wrigley Field at the end of the month. It'll be a tough trip. We got the Phillies too. We know what the Phillies have done to the Braves this year. And Ender takes ball 4. So it's the Colorado staff that's been walking a lot of people in today's play. That's the 5th walk they've issued in 6+ innings. Now let's see if somebody can tag a homer with a man aboard. And here's Brandon Phillips.
They'd only walked 5 in the first 3 games of the series.
Brandon's 0 for 3. And taken for a strike. And we've talked a lot about Brandon Phillips and his move to third base at this stage in his career. I would think this is going to be a big help for Brandon, whether he stays with the Braves or checks out free agency when the season's over. Play second, he can play third. He's always been able to hit. He can hit anywhere for you in the lineup. And again, remarkably, playing third base for the first time since 2001 when he was at Harrisburg and at Expo.
It's been a while.
No balls and a strike. Runner goes. He got a great jump. Lucroy's throw is on target, but late. It's a 2-steal day for Ender Inciarte. He's been everywhere.
He went on the first move and he guessed right, and Mike Dunn used a real long delivery. No slide step. Brought that leg back, turned, gave Lucroy no chance, even though Jonathan made a good throw. What a day for Ender.
Now an RBI chance. And Brandon looked at that one low. Freddie Freeman's next. Lined into right field. That's a base hit. That's going to score Ender. Brandon Phillips with a long single extends the Braves lead. It's now 5-2.
And so like Phillips. I mean, you get the guy on, he walks, he steals second. Now all of a sudden his whole approach changes. He's going to get him to third base and hits a rope over first. So he not only gets him over, he gets him in on his own. No stride, just trying to go inside out, and smoked it.
So that scores Ender Inciarte for the 3rd time on the day, and Atlanta's pulling away in the 7th. Here's Freddie. He's doubled and he's homered, and he almost got hit. And Lucroy out to talk about that with Mike Dunn. Braves finally have a hit with a man on base today. They're 1 for 11. And amazingly, they are 5 for 45 in this series. Excuse me, 5 for 46 in this series with men on base, yet they have a chance to split 4 games in Denver.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk, Chip.
Freeman drives one toward left center field. That ball is going to be caught. What a grab by Gerardo Parra. That's why they brought him over from Arizona. He is an outstanding outfielder, and he just robbed Freddie Freeman of an extra base hit.
When you've got one of your best defensive players playing left field, especially at Coors Field, that's a real asset and says something about the rest of their outfield defense. Nice play.
Run prevention as important as run scoring in this park. And Parra just saved one. Two-time Gold Glover, 2011 and 2013 when he was with the Diamondbacks. That 2013 year he had 17 assists.
Terrific arm, very accurate. Had a big night against the Braves at Chase Field one night. I said the other night it was 3 assists. I think that's right. In one game. And that was when he was playing left field too.
Braves have added a run here in the 7th. They cash in a leadoff walk. How many times has that been said in the history of Coors Field? And taken low by Nick Markakis. And in for a strike. It's 1-1. You might recall when the Braves signed Nick Markakis, they were in the middle of their rebuild, and many around baseball wondered, well, why in the world did the Braves give Nick Markakis a 4-year contract with his experience and his age? Well, they weren't going to re-sign Jason Hayward. Jason's free agency asking price was too high for the Braves, considering where they were as a franchise. And if you look at the numbers, since Hayward left and went to St. Louis and Nick Markakis signed his deal, the Braves might have made the right choice.
Heavy, leaning heavy to the right there toward Nick Markakis, wouldn't you say? 200 RBIs versus 148 for quite a bit less money.
A shot to right. That's going to get down for a hit. And Phillips has to hustle back to the bag as they threw behind him. So the hitting's getting contagious all of a sudden for the Braves. A couple of them here in the 7th inning where the Braves have done excellent work all year long. And that's going to be the end of the line for Mike Dunn. So a leadoff walk, a stolen base, and a Phillips RBI single extends the Braves lead to 5-2. We'll tell you about Adam Ottavino when we return next. Fun and exciting thing to see them score so many runs from the 7th inning on. It's been a dangerous way to play. Today, however, Joe, they had 4 runs in their first 6 innings, and that's been enough to build a lead against the Rockies.
Well, as we say so many times, early runs help everybody relax. You know, there's no pressure to try to force that first run across, and you get a couple early, everybody can go up there and freewheel it. All too often the Braves have found themselves in deficits leading into the latter innings, and yet they still manage to get all those hits and make a game of it. Ottavino, fastball, slider, pitched here last night, almost hit Dansby Swanson, but then Dansby got up off the ground and hit a double to right center off of it. Ottavino was able to strand him.
Tyler Flowers got the offense going with a leadoff homer in the 2nd. He's grounded out and walked since. High fly ball center. Blackmon retreating, still going, and at the edge of the track, he's going to make the play. Phillips will tag, and he'll head to third base. And Matt Adams will grab a bat and come on and hit for Sam Freeman. Jim Johnson rose from his bullpen seat. He's begun to loosen up. He'll be the next Atlanta pitcher.
Matt Adams has been kind of a non-factor in this series because of the need for more mobility in the outfield, let's say. Just too much room to cover in the outfield for a guy who's a first baseman. He could be a big factor right here, though.
You bet. A matchup of ex-Cardinals here in the top of the 7th. Adam Ottavino, Matt Adams. Strike 1. Most of Matt's pinch hit appearances came when he was with the Cardinals. And he strokes one toward the gap in right center field. Phillips will score. Markakis on his way to third. He's going to come around and score. Matt Adams has a pinch hit double, and the Braves have broken the game open.
That's a factor. What a good swing. And this was a prime example of what I was talking about last night. When you hit a line drive out over second, there's just too much room to cover, even for a guy with Charlie Blackmon's ability. That was a low line drive that went all the way to the fence because of the room that you got to cover or try to cover in the outfield here. Great job by Adams.
Big pinch hit double extends the Atlanta lead to 7-2. And now Ozzie Albies bats. He's tripled in 3 trips.
Well, this guy throws across his body so much. I can't think of another pitcher that throws across his body more. He steps almost toward the Braves on deck circle.
So then he oughta be tough to hit.
Oughta. I prefer the last part of his name.
1 ball, 1 strike. Single runs for the Braves in the 2nd and 3rd, 2 runs in the 5th, 3 in the 7th. But you got to keep pouring it on, especially in this place, and especially with who's coming up in the home seventh.
Yeah, it's all well and good, and the Braves have done a good job offensively today. Some long balls, some clutch hitting here by Adams. But these guys have 3 innings to go to catch up.
Little roller past the mound. That's tough play, and it's an infield hit. Albies with a 2-hit day. Adams moves up 90 feet. Atlanta runners are at the corners with 2 out.
It's kind of like that little broken bat swinging bunt that Amarista had earlier in the game. Pitcher spot occupied by Lane Adams now means you don't have to kind of sit tight if you want to try and send Albies if he can get into scoring position too. Meaning they can't just pitch around Swanson and get to the pitcher.
Runner goes. Pitch is a strike. Dansby saw the great jump, and Albies has a stolen base.
Couple of firsts for him today.
First triple, now first steal. And a hit for Dansby could score 2 more Atlanta runs. He's the 8th man to hit in the inning, an inning that began with a leadoff walk. Way outside. Another terrific stop.
Lucroy moves around back there like an infielder. A lot like JT Realmuto of Miami.
Fly ball hit toward the gap in left center. That's going to get down and score 2 more. Dansby on his way to second. He's going to make the turn. He's blazing toward third. He's going to slide in with a triple.
Keep piling it on, Dansby. All those line shot outs that you suffered through all year long. Getting a hot streak, get greedy. Slider too. Stayed on it. Didn't get out on his front foot too much, and they're going to have to get some oxygen somewhere for Charlie Blackmon.
Beautiful trip around the bases for Swanson. The Braves have a huge inning. 5 runs in the 7th. It's now a 9-2 game. And Lucroy stabs at another one.
.39 RBIs now for Dansby. 5 for 12. I have him in the series. Couple of walks today.
And a 6-game hitting streak.
Yeah.
That he'll bring back home. 2 balls, no strikes. And on a play. Braves have batted around in the 7th. Two and two. Ottavino's thrown 15 pitches. The Braves have a double, a single, and a triple amongst those 15. And he's given up 2 runs. Sharply hit. Arenado backhand stab. Can't get it. Can't find it. That looked like it hurt.
Yeah.
Swanson scores. That makes it a 10-2 game. And is that the spot that got Arenado in Miami? This is the last thing Bud Black wants to see, as Nolan Arenado has the glove off after that hot shot caught him on the hand.
That's got to scare him to death. We're looking on the same spot. Man, how does that happen? You know?
Is he going to continue? He's walking with the trainer. That's not a good sign.
Well, it's 10-2. I don't blame Bud Black at all for getting him out of the game, getting some ice on it, getting it examined.
Well, you can see he's flexing that left hand, just trying to get some feeling after he got pinched by a pitch Sunday down in Miami. He thought he broke his hand when this ball hit him. The ball pinched the fleshy part of that left hand against the knob of the bat. It got swollen, it got very sore, it was heavily wrapped, and they were concerned that Arenado was going to miss a lot of time. But Keith Duggar will take Arenado up to the trainer's room and examine him more closely. So Mark Reynolds will come in and play first base. And McMahon's going to go from first to third for Nolan Arenado. So Adams gets a base hit and an RBI. Braves have scored 6 times. And the man that got this inning started is Ender Inciarte. He's coming up again. It's a strike.
They have hit some blistering shots off of Ottavino today.
That's into the Colorado dugout. A ball and 2 strikes. They've been out a while in Chicago. Reds 12, Cubs 10. That game's in the 9th. John Lester, a left lat problem, and to leave the game in the 2nd inning. Arizona beat Houston 4-0. Those are your National League ballpark finals. Pitch is up the middle, off Ottavino's glove. It deflects to second, and that retires the side. The Braves really hammered Ottavino and done in the 7th inning. 6 runs come across, and the Braves now lead by 8.
7th inning, one of those runs driven in by Lane Adams, who has taken over in left field. And we've spoke so much about the speed this guy has, and he told me this was actually something he focused on this past offseason. He was working with a sprint specialist 5 days a week over in Oklahoma City. He taught him how to run properly and smoother. So he worked on reaching out in front. So whenever he's running, it looks almost like a high step. And they also worked on his arm movement, but he really started it to be more proactive with longevity of his career and preventing injuries. But Joe, something very interesting that he told me, that before he did this training this past offseason, he said it would take him about 9 to 10 steps to steal second base. And now after that training, it takes him about 7 to 8 with the slide. And as we all know, I mean, one step can make such a huge difference in trying to steal a base.
Absolutely, and he's a big guy too, Kelsey. He's got long legs, so he can eat up some ground in a hurry.
Jim Johnson checks in. His first pitch is hammered toward the Atlanta bullpen wall. And Charlie Blackmon will glide into second with a leadoff double. Two base hits for Charlie Blackmon. He's got an RBI as well. Here's LeMahieu. A quiet day for LeMahieu. He was 0 for 3 versus Lucas Sims after going 4 for 5 last night.
Yeah, I didn't get the ball out of the infield in those 3 at bats. First action for Johnson in this series, and only his second on the road trip. He was in one game in St. Louis, a third of an inning, 3 hits, 2 runs.
That's taken low, ball 2. No, a big Braves fan is watching the game this afternoon. Mike Helling, who seldom had a bad day in his life. Loves baseball, loves watching the Braves. Mike's doing well this afternoon.
Longtime producer for the St. Louis Cardinals, games on Fox in St. Louis and the Midwest.
Mike has turned from the dark side. He's become a huge Braves fan these days. And that's in for a strike. It's 3-1. Cincinnati's added a run, 13-10 versus the Cubs at Wrigley Field. Braves and Reds tomorrow night. Big weekend. Got the MC Hammer concert to look forward to as well. That's hit to right. Markakis retreats. Blackmon will tag and move to third base. So LeMahieu makes it out. It's a productive one. And here's Mark Reynolds, who checked in for Nolan Arenado. Arenado left after Dansby Swanson, after Lane Adams smoked the ball off his glove. Reynolds had 3 hits, 4 RBIs last night. He's knocked in 5 runs in the series.
You know, if that ball came up and hit Arenado, as we suspect it did, right in the same place he got hit with a pitch, the interesting thing to me is that that's his glove hand. And most guys these days, and I don't know specifically about Arenado, they don't put their hand all the way up in the glove. And there's a lot of their hand still sticking out of the bottom of the glove, where it's mostly just their fingers up in the glove. So if that part of the hand was even semi-exposed and got hit, then it was able to hit that spot where he got nailed.
1-1 pitch is driven deep toward left field, at the track and at the wall. Adams has room. Reynolds just missed. That's going to bring home Charlie Blackmon with a sacrifice fly, but Lane Adams was about 2 steps away from the warning track, and had he not been, that might have been over his head and off the wall. But the Rockies score their third run. And Reynolds with a big series. Now with 6 RBIs against Atlanta. Braves will gladly trade the run for the second out. They need to get 7 more to win the game. And Parra swinging strike. To first, and Freddie Freeman takes it to the bag, and that retires the side. Charlie Blackmon with the leadoff double. He scores the third Colorado run, but Atlanta with a 7-run lead after 7. Time now to join Rebecca Capel back in our Atlanta studio. We've enjoyed today's game in Colorado an awful lot. 10-3 Atlanta the lead. Alexi Amarista moves from right to left. Carlos Gonzalez checks in. He's now in right field. And the Rockies have to go to their bullpen again. Their 5th pitcher of the day is right-hander Anthony Senzatella, who's been a starter as well for them this year.
Boy, did he burst onto the scene. 10-4, 4.64 ERA, a lot of strikeouts. Good stuff. They're trying to save some innings for him by moving him to the bullpen. Mid-90s fastball, slider, a couple of other pitches too that he uses, but mostly hard stuff.
And he'll face Brandon Phillips, who's now 19 hits away from 2,000. Brandon drove in his 45th run with a 7th inning hit. The Braves erupted for 6 runs last inning. Let's see what they can do here in the 8th. And that's outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Senzatella from Valencia, Venezuela. He's 22 years old. He went 41-19 in their minor league system.
Wow.
Made 87 starts, 489 minor league innings. Last year, he was at AA Hartford.
Spent a lot of the year on the disabled list yet last year. Only started 7 games. right shoulder issues. 6'1", 230.
And sprayed into the seats, foul. As the wind really starting to pick up here in Denver, blowing from left to right. That is oftentimes not a good sign. That's where the bad stuff comes from. And that's swept outside.
By using Carlos Gonzalez in right field, that leaves only their backup catcher Ryan Hannigan, who was scratched from the lineup today because of stomach virus.
Swing and a drive, but Brandon pulled it foul.
I'll say he did.
Wow, out on the concourse, and then it came back into the seats on a tricky bounce. Nice catch.
In a 10-2, 10-3 game now, might be a game where Buddy Black would take Jonathan Lucroy out of the game, but if Hannigan's still sick, he can't do that. He's been all over the place behind home plate.
Senzatella, the National League Rookie of the Month in April. He went 3-1 with a 2.81 ERA. Twelve bullpen innings.
He's a guy I'm told that if they leave him in the bullpen, if they get to the postseason, advance to a 5 or 7 game series, that he could really move up the chain, let's say, in their bullpen help. He wouldn't just be some long guy. He could actually be somebody as a 7th or 8th inning setup guy for Holland.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, as I said a couple of games ago, what a luxury for Bud Black to have that kind of flexibility as to how he wants to compose his pitching staff. 3-2 pitch is a ring up at first base. Jerry Lane said Brandon Phillips went too far. He tried to steal a base on balls, but he's retired for the first out.
No real debate from Brandon, and he did.
Two extra base hits for Freddie Freeman today, including a 5th inning homer. 1 of 4 homers the Braves have blasted today. And that's a strike. I guess if there's a knock on the Colorado team is that they have such young pitching. And knock may be the wrong word. Something to think about as the playoffs approach and they make it. You don't have a track record for those guys as to how they would react under postseason pressure in the microscope.
Right.
Whereas you say a walk is a rally. You can get away with those walks in regular season play. Not so much in postseason play when it's a very short series. Freddie pops one into center. Charlie Blackmon is going to make the play. There's the second out. That's why getting Chad Bettis back was so important for this team, emotionally certainly. But he's a veteran guy. He won 14 games last year. And Bettis, coming back from the testicular cancer surgery, went 7 innings of shutout ball and beat the Braves 3-0 on Monday night. That was good stuff.
Oh, it sure was. Storybook stuff for the Bettis family and for the Rockies organization. They have 42 games left, the Rockies, so they got a ways to go in an effort to find out who they want to use, how they want to use them, and who's going to step up. I was very impressed with Freeland. Didn't pitch like a rookie.
That's it to left. Amarista is there, and he makes the catch near the line. And Senzatella works a 1-2-3 8th inning. Well, the Braves have 4 dingers today. Nolan Arenado had to leave because of injury on a hard hit ball that bounced off his glove hand. And the Braves, despite going 10 for 54 with runners on base in this series, have an outstanding chance of splitting 4 games against the Rockies here at what has been their house of horrors, Coors Field in Denver. 10-3's your score, bottom of the 8th inning. And former Rocky Jason Mott comes on. He's the 3rd Atlanta reliever to pitch today.
He started the season with the Rockies. Braves got him after he had been let go by Colorado. And he's done a good job for the Bravos. 1-0, 3.56 ERA. 35 games, had a little stint on the DL with a sore back. And pitched an inning here in game 1. Gave up a hit, walked a batter, but no runs across.
Lucroy, Story, and McMahon, the Rockies trio coming up. Lucroy is 1 for 3. And that missed outside. Ball 1. Later on tonight, the Cardinals visit Pittsburgh. Adam Wainwright will pitch for the Cardinals. Came to pass, Adam Wainwright's had some elbow issues. That's why he was throwing 82-mile-an-hour fastballs against the Braves at Busch Stadium. Cardinals also might be shorthanded in their bullpen for a while. I'll explain after the pitch. Trevor Rosenthal had to go back to St. Louis. His elbow is barking.
Was he the guy that blew the save last night in the 9th inning?
Not sure about that. I'll check.
Tyon will pitch for the Pirates tonight.
Swing and a drive hammered toward the gap left center. Lane can't get it. It's off the fence. It drops to the warning track. And Lucroy has 2 more hits against the Braves in game 4 today.
Really swinging it well. He said Buddy Black told him just to relax and play freely, and he certainly has done that. Cutter and ripped it. That's 6 hits for him in the series. 6 for 15.
So Johnson and Mott both greeted with leadoff doubles. Jim gave up a run in the 7th. Story, the hitter, he's walked, scored, and struck out twice. And no, it was not Trevor Rosenthal that lost the game. He did face 1 hitter, gave up 2 runs and a home run in Boston. Duke and Brebbia came on, and it was Zach Duke that ended up losing that game to Boston. One ball, 1 strike. And that's in at the knees.
One of the things for Jason that causes him to have to work so hard is that he has trouble retiring that first batter he faces when he comes in. Lucroy was the 36th first batter. He's only retired 25 of them, so almost a third of the first batters he faces reach.
Back to the screen. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Washington visits San Diego a little later on. Washington hoping to get Steven Strasburg back at some point in that series. Phillies visit the Giants. Yankees take on the Mets at Citi Field. 1-2 count. Struck him out at the knees, and Story has struck out 3 times.
Well, he got a call, and you can understand why Mr. Story was a little bothered by that. But at 10-3 in the 8th, can't afford to take it.
Ryan McMahon bats. He's doubled, scored, and knocked in a run. Braves have made 2 excellent defensive plays up the middle to rob him of 2 more potential hits. And that's at the plate foul. McMahon some insurance for the Rockies in case Reynolds gets hurt, or if Arenado goes down for an extended period of time, he can play both corner spots. Today he started at first base and moved across the diamond when Nolan left back in the Atlanta 7th. Not just missed. It's an even count. Bouncer foul. Interesting story came across the wires a little while ago. The Major League Baseball owners are having their meetings this week. One of the topics, of course, will be the pending Marlins sale. The other one is pace of play initiatives. Rob Manfred talking to reporters today. He said that Major League Baseball has met with the players union and select players regarding pace of play changes that are hoped to be implemented in time for the start of play next year.
I think we're all for that.
Yeah.
Within certain consideration given to things that could certainly be improved on. You know, one of them is batter standing there with his hand outstretched to the umpire, waiting, asking for time until he's ready to hit, like Parra does.
The Parra-Braun rule.
Yes.
2-2 pitch.
We call that the PBR.
Don't say that too loud in this park.
No.
Full count. Major League Baseball, under the current labor agreement, can unilaterally implement changes without the agreement of the players union with 1 year's advance notice. Rob Manfred said he's hoping that's not the case. In fact, as McMahon walks, he was very complimentary and said, quote, "The tone of the conversations with Tony Clark and the players have been very positive." And Rob Manfred says, quote, "I remain confident we'll have changes for next year on the issue of pace of game that will be significant." Now, what those mean are obviously could be a million different things. Maybe a pitch clock. Who knows?
Well, one of the things that there's another one that comes to mind, and that is when a catcher goes out to talk to a pitcher when it's an obvious stall situation for the bullpen to get ready. If all of the infielders come in and then you make a change, and it's like the manager's going to come out as soon as they break the huddle, you should have had to make it as soon as that happened, as soon as the infielders come in.
Line foul. And again, I repeat, it's not time of game, because you can have a 4-hour classic ball game.
Sure.
You can also have a 1-0 game that is just absolute drudgery because there's nothing going on, no real excitement other than the pitching.
Well, batter won't get in the box and the pitcher won't get on the mound.
Time of game has gone up by 5 minutes over last year, roughly 9 minutes since Rob Manfred's first year as Major League Baseball commissioner. That trend is trending in the wrong direction, in baseball's opinion.
Sure. Well, I like that one rule they imposed a few years ago, but they quit enforcing it, and that's where the hitters had to stay in the box, even to get their signs. You know, at least keep 1 foot in the box. Can't walk around, can't stall to get in there.
No balls, 2 strikes for Alexi Amarista. And that missed outside. I'd like to see him experiment with a pitch clock just to see what it's like. Just to see if it makes any noticeable difference in the pace of the game.
Even in spring training.
Yeah, just try it out. They've already got the clocks in place for the umpires with regards to timing in between innings. Maybe a simple reset after every pitch. As a fly ball is headed Markakis' way. Nick nearing the line. He's going to have room. And tagging from second and moving to third is Lucroy, but that costs Colorado its second 8th inning out. And here is Carlos Gonzalez, who checked in a little while ago. His first at bat of the game. And another reason for some of the extended period in the game, extended commercial breaks, that's certainly part of it. But the way the game's played now, starters aren't going 7, 8 innings on a consistent basis. It has become a bullpen game and a matchup game in the late innings. Ostensibly, when things are supposed to be most exciting, it slows to a snail's pace, almost like the final 2 minutes of an NBA game. And that's something baseball would like to fix too. So at least the 2 sides are talking. And a little nubber right back to Mott, and he'll take care of his former teammate, and that ends Colorado's 8th inning. It's 10-3, Atlanta in front. We are off to the 9th in Game 4. Denver, Colorado. Since this ballpark was built, what a difference 20 some odd years will make. What a city.
Yeah, it just amazing, all the high rises. More cranes.
And what a beautiful ballpark is Coors Field. Especially so when you lead 10-3 after 8. That's the fate of the Braves. Hopefully that trend will continue tomorrow night. The Friday night showdown on Fox Sports South comes your way at 7 as the Braves take on the Reds. Nice long homestand for the Bravos. Nice to be at home for more than a 5 or 6 day stretch. 3 clubs come to town. Hope you'll join us for the Friday night showdown presented by Kaiser Permanente tomorrow night. Ninth inning, Tyler Flowers, Matt Adams, and Ozzie Albies are coming up. Actually be Jason Mott's spot, I beg your pardon, so it'll be Jace Peterson on deck. He's coming up after Tyler Flowers. Then it'll be Albies.
Had a little offense here the last couple of days, huh?
Whew. My scorebook is a mess. But much more fun today than last night As you said, Joe, in our post-game comments, that's the beauty of baseball. You have a bad day, you wipe it away, and the best thing that might happen for you is to come back on short rest and get after it again.
Yeah, day game following that. Easy to quickly wipe it off. Those long balls by the Braves early kind of set the tone. One by this man.
His 10th of the year. So Tyler 1 for 3 on the day. His first hit of the road trip. And his bid for a second is intercepted by Reynolds at first base. Nice play, 1 out. And Jace Peterson will get a chance to swing the bat. This is Jace's second at bat in the series. He came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning in game 2. And a shot to the left side. Nice play, McMahon.
Is that 24 or 28? Nicely done there by Mr. McMahon out of Santa Ana, California. 2nd round draft pick.
Their PA announcer is terrific here. He's got a beautiful, deep baritone voice. I just wish when McMahon came to the plate to go, "Here's Ryan." One ball, no strikes for Albies. A few youngsters out there who have no idea what Joe and I are talking about. And there's probably a good number of you. There used to be a late night TV show before Jimmy Fallon called The Tonight Show. It was hosted by a man named Johnny Carson. His able sidekick who introduced Johnny was a man named Ed McMahon. Terrific broadcaster in his own right. And that was his trademark signal for Johnny Carson to take the stage. Here's Johnny. So get to the Google machine, go to YouTube.
Oh yeah, watch some shows.
It's fantastic stuff. And it's spelled, Ed McMahon was spelled just like Ryan. You need.
No one in late night has ever come close to Johnny since.
Two balls, two strikes.
And all of the current late night fellows would agree with me.
Upstairs. When Don Rickles passed away earlier this year, you and I can't remember where we were. We were on the road, and we both, I think, did the same thing. We went back and looked at the Don Rickles, Johnny Carson clips on the Tonight Show. I mean, it was just, when you could make Johnny Carson laugh, you were at the top of your game. As that one takes care of Albies and sends Atella 2 very impressive innings in relief with a couple of strikeouts. Colorado's coming up in a 10-3 game after 8.5.
production with the new Behind the Broadcast ticket package. This unique opportunity will get you into a Q&A with our own Chip Carey and Joe Simpson, a ticket to the September 16th game, and a tour of SunTrust Park with a commemorative media pass. Visit Braves.com/behindthebroadcast to get the details. Chip and Joe, Q&A. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, Kelsey. You know, we might even try out some people.
Why are you looking at me? What?
Getting late in the year.
Wait a minute. Wait. Forget about that part of the promo. As Jose Ramirez goes to work in the ninth. This is a very exciting inning. Atlanta has a 7-run lead. Exciting because the Braves are 3 outs away from an achievement of a dream for a young man, I'm sure, who's thought about this ever since he fell in love with the Braves, and that's Atlanta's Lucas Sims. He's in line to win his first big league game today if the Braves can protect a 7-run lead. Sims went 5 innings of 2-run ball, 94 pitches, 57 strikes. His line in the sand was the 3rd inning, as that one's hammered foul. Atlanta was tied 2-2. The Rockies got a leadoff walk. Hara bounced into a fielder's choice to second. The throw pulled Dansby Swanson off the bag for an error. So then Colorado had runners at second and third. Nobody out, excuse me, 1 out, and then a ground ball made it second and third for Story and McMahon. A strikeout and a ground out. And that was it. High fly ball to left. Adams as far as he can go. And Charlie Blackmon with an opposite field home run. I think my dad used to call this place arena baseball. And there's another example of it. Hit it high and watch it go. Blackmon with his 3rd extra base hit. And his 28th homer.
Well, we've been talking about him during the series about how hard he swings. Big, long swing. Well, he can still catch up to some pretty good gas. He turned on a 96 fastball, hits another one out of the ballpark.
So Blackmon scored 5 runs in this series. He has 5 hits. He's something. Late swing by LeMahieu after a 4-hit night last night, 0 for 4 today. That too can be summed up in the timeless phrase, that's baseball. In the air towards center, it'll carry out to Ender, who's got it, and there's the first out.
It's the 5th home run allowed by Jose. Make it the 6th home run he's allowed. But came in with only a 168 batting average against him.
I think the Rockies brought in the sound engineer from Dodger Stadium for this 9th inning all of a sudden. Eek.
Heavy on the volume dial.
Reynolds with a sacrifice fly. Colorado beat the Braves 17-2 last night. Atlanta's turned this one around and leads 10-4. We fly cross country and face the Reds, who beat the Cubs 13-10 in a wild one at Wrigley today. Rockies get to stay home. They'll start a series with Milwaukee. That'll be a big one. Brewers trying to catch the Cubs. And fouled straight back. 1-2.
So the brain trust over there on the railing for the Rockies. Just like what the Braves had to do last night, Rockies have to do a lot, and that's wipe a game off the slate and come back and get them tomorrow in this ballpark. It's happened less and less this year, but that's something you just got to kind of condition yourself to.
Got a 6-run lead and a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. And the count's full. Professional at bat by Reynolds here in the bottom of the ninth.
He is fouling off some good fastballs too. 98 on that one. If they weren't 3-2, you'd like to go upstairs and see if he'd chase one up a little up out of the zone. But can't risk that. Might walk him.
Pitch number 9 of this at bat. And he'll see a 10th. Senzatella's on deck. As Joe mentioned, the only man they have left is Ryan Hannigan. He's ill, so Senzatella has to hit for himself here. So get Reynolds, get the pitcher, and let's get on the plane and come home. But it's a walk. Senzatella is a 133 hitter. He's got a double. He's got 5 RBIs. He's also struck out in 19 of his 30 at bats. He just fouled off 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, Lane Adams is playing him like he's Nolan Arenado. He's so deep in left. He needs to perhaps come in just a little bit for the pitcher.
A little chopper toward first. Freeman will fire to second. And no chance for Dansby to complete the relay. That takes care of Reynolds. That's the second out. And the Braves have to face Lucroy one more time.
Yeah, you're right about the Brewers coming in. You know that Jonathan will look forward to playing against his old teammates. He had such a good beginning to his career. And that will be a huge series for Milwaukee overall.
With the Cubs loss, Milwaukee's a game out of first. They're riding a 4-game win streak. And a shot to right. That's going to get down in front of Markakis. Senzatella throws out an anchor and stops at second. And Colorado not going quietly here in the ninth. Another 3-hit game for Lucroy.
Well, what a day for him when he wasn't supposed to play.
Yeah.
You know, it was a late scratch of Hannigan. And Jonathan was supposed to get the day off. Late addition to the lineup. They put him in the 5 spot, and he's gotten 3 hits. Done a great job behind the plate. My gosh, he's diving all over the place, knocking balls down today.
3 strikeouts for Story. He walked and scored the first Rockies run way back in the 2nd inning. Line to first, and that's your ball game. Lucas Sims is in the win column as a major league pitcher for the very first time, and he does it at Coors Field in Denver after 5 terrific innings for the Braves, who split Joe this 4-game series.
Yeah, what a great thing for him. Pitched a good ball game, and he's pitched well in other starts. Today he got a few runs to support him. 5 strong innings. He's in the win column forever.
It'll be a happy flight home for Lucas Sims and the rest of the Braves, who wrap up a 3-4 road trip to St. Louis and Colorado. Today's final, Atlanta 10, Rockies 4. Sims beats Hoffman. And we will head home and face the Reds tomorrow night. We'll step aside, take a break, and come back. Braves Live presented by Xfinity. Plenty to talk about from Coors Field. That's after the break.